Welcome back to MSU Tonight, and you are now hanging with the Sports Lot. I'm Zach Simmons.
I'm Drayton Charlton Perrin.
And I'm Joe Reed.
Let's take a look at this weekend's sports scores, starting with volleyball, who beat Indiana State in straight sets 3-0 and reverse sweeping Evansville 3-2. Your thoughts on that, Drayton?
Yeah, I was there for that game. It was incredibly exciting. That game, just tons of kills, tons of great sets. Bailey Demir for Murray State did a fantastic job putting the ball in the right places. Ella Vogel, Lily Burnett, two of the star players for the Racers, had some great games. Darcy Metzger got her 1,000th kill of her career, which is an incredibly impressive number. Ella Vogel obviously leads the team in kills this year. She's the star player, had another great game, and so I'm looking forward to see what they do tonight and later in the season. Coming back from a reverse sweep is not easy to do. They were down 0-2 and came back to win the next three. And the final two sets that they won weren't even close. They won the third set 15-8, I believe. It was a awesome game, super exciting.
Worth noting as well, Bailey Demir had 47 assists in the game against Evansville, which was her 8th 40-plus assist game. Moving on to football, who had another rough outing this week as they lost 59-0 to the 4th-ranked team in South Dakota. Joe, what were your thoughts on that game?
Man, this game was very disappointing. You know, coming off a week that we put up a lot of points in the first half, we couldn't get anything going. I believe we had 13 completed passes between two quarterbacks. That is just not acceptable. We didn't have a back that had more than 6 carries. It was just an awful night that we just couldn't get going at all. I mean, it was bad. We didn't have many fans in attendance, and the fans that were there were pretty much gone by halftime. It was very sad.
That's true. And Jamari Daly, probably the lone bright spot for the team in general, recording his first career interception. Going to soccer, Brees Bass was the lone goal scorer for the Racers, hitting an improbable goal. I mean, she kicked it like rainbow flicked it over a defender and over the goalkeeper to see the Racers' first goal. Took that lead early in the second half, but Illinois State equalized in the 87th minute to finish in a 1-1 draw. Drayton, what were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, that's an incredibly disappointing draw for Murray State. They were dominating the entire game as far as time of possession, shots on goal, everything like that. Murray State was dominating. Illinois State did not have an answer for them. But I will say, Murray State wasn't hitting their shots. They were taking all the right shots. They just weren't going in. Brees Bass made an unbelievable goal. It was one of the hardest shots of the game, and of course that was the one that went in for them. And Illinois State, they kept their poise, they kept fighting, and in the last 5 minutes of the game, they got a late goal, and they kept the draw, kept the loss off the stat sheet.
Yeah, everybody's going to take a share of points there. That was Brees Bass's 3rd goal for the season and her first since August 18th. Looking ahead to sports coming up over fall break, tennis has a 5-day regional tournament for ITA. It's the Ohio Valley Regional. We wish them good luck there. Soccer travels to Springfield to play Missouri State. Missouri State currently ranked number 1 in the Missouri Valley Conference with 4 wins and 1 draw. Drayton, what are your thoughts on that game coming up?
Yeah, Missouri State is an extremely tough team in every sport, but one thing about them is they just have such great concentration and great team chemistry, and so, yeah, going to be a challenge for the Racers. The Racers are going to need to find a way to just really lock in. They're going to have a really tough second half of this season here. Joe, you have any thoughts?
Man, it's just like you said, picking back off what you said, you know, it's a tough second half of the season. Hopefully they can get things going and, you know, get some goals to fall, you know, get some goals to go through.
The Racers are also looking for their first win in conference play. Moving on to volleyball, they start a 2-game road trip over the break. They will play Drake on October 11th, Northern Iowa on the 12th. Both of those teams are tied for conference. They're both undefeated at 4-0, and the Racers are tied for 3rd with 2 other teams, but they are going into hostile territory, going to Iowa. Drayton, what are your thoughts on what the Racers might be able to pull off?
Yeah, I would say I believe in the Racers. They have an extremely talented team. They have so many weapons. Federica Nuccio, Ella Vogel, Lily Burnett, all these players. Obviously, Bailey Demir so good at putting the ball in the right places for her weapons. So I would say do not sleep on the Racers. They've been playing very well. A couple bad sets here and there. The 2 that they dropped to Evansville were very, very poor sets. But then they obviously came back and finished the job winning the next 3 straight. And so that's what you want to expect from the Racers. I think they're going to continue to bring that energy. And I expect them to do very well in conference against these top teams. So I would say do not sleep on the Racers.
Football continues to look for their first conference win on the season. They're traveling to Terre Haute, Indiana to play the Sycamores of Indiana State. Both teams 1-4. It's worth noting that Indiana State was the team Murray State beat in their inaugural Missouri Valley Football Conference game. Joe, how do you think the Racers are going to fare, and what do they have to change to really get the ball rolling for them this back half of the season?
Well, to start with my train of thought, someone has to win their second game of the season. Hopefully it'll be our Racers. They just gotta, attack. Make smart decisions. I think we've been playing to really win rather than to, do what we can do. We're doing things that might be out of our realm. I think if we really get a solid game plan, try to mark off some goals for the day, and just really focus on moving the ball and stopping the ball, I think we'll have a better chance this week. But it just there has to be a change. I haven't seen much of a change, from the beginning of the season. It's been just lack of ball play.
Drayton, you talked to Jody after the game on radio. What were kind of his thoughts on the South Dakota game and maybe looking forward to this Indiana State game?
Yeah, so it was another really tough game, especially for the defense. They gave up 72 to North Dakota and then now just gave up 59 to South Dakota. I was trying to keep things positive with Jody because obviously you can't feel too good after another big loss like that.
Right.
I asked him what he thought the positives were from this game and what they can take away, and he gave me an honest answer. He said there were no positives to come from that game. It was a terrible game, and they need to work on it. I also asked him about special teams. That's been a problem lately. They've been getting fumbles, block punts, all that sort of stuff. They need to figure out their special teams. So Jody did say he's going to try to get some new faces in the lineup, see who really wants to play, see who's going to make that effort, because special teams is just as important as anything else. If you're making mistakes on special teams, you're going to lose games, and so they're going to make sure that they get the right guys in. So look to see some new faces out there for Murray State.
Yeah, and the last thing we want to bring up is Rifles hosting their second meet of the season. They're going to take on Ole Miss, looking to win back-to-back after they beat UT Martin. That's all for the Stadium Lot. When we come back, we've got Scary Movie trivia on the way.